We all know that having shared goals with our clients is one of the strongest factors in therapeutic alliance. We also know that not only does goal congruence reliably predict good outcome, but lack of alignment on goals is associated with an increased risk of dropout. So, what do you do when the client doesn't have any goals? More specifically, what do you do when the client comes along to therapy to meet someone else's goals? This comes up all the time. Husbands who are in therapy to keep their wives happy, teens who are in therapy to keep their parents from nagging them, or clients who have to attend therapy as part of a court-directed diversion program. When we ask these people what their goals are, what we hope they'll say is that they recognise the very legitimate worries of the person who's forcing them to be here, and that they'd like to work on fixing those issues of concern. In 25 years, I can count the times that that's happened on one hand. What happens instead is that these clients start to become a bit vague. They aren't really sure why they're in therapy. Maybe they need to work on their self-esteem or the fact that they were bullied as a child. They're trying to align with what they think therapy is all about without actually engaging in their therapy. So what do? This is a key choice point in therapy, and I see a lot of therapists who will basically align with the referrer and try and force their worldview onto the client. Well, you might not know why you're here, but this email from Mum makes it pretty clear to me that you've got a serious drug problem. If your wife was in the room with us right now, what would she say you need to be working on? These kind of techniques can be helpful if used judiciously, but more often than not, they help you develop great rapport with a person who's not in the room. The client's then placed in an impossible situation. On the one hand, they don't feel like they can be honest with you, and maybe they want to disengage. On the other hand, they can't disengage because of fear of consequences. So they plod along in therapy, not really being honest, not really doing their homework, wasting time in therapy by telling you stories or trying to get a laugh out of you. Anything really to make the hour go by peacefully and keep everyone happy. And right there is the key. They do have a goal from therapy. It's just not a goal we're familiar with. They want to keep everyone happy. They want to not get a divorce. They want to not get fired. They want to get a good court parole board report. And they want a form filled in for work cover or their insurance company. On the face of it, these type of goals seem pretty antisocial, but we ignore them at our peril, because if we do, they will stop us from ever doing anything therapeutically with this client. So I'm going to suggest something very different. Firstly, acknowledge the tension in the early stages of therapy. It sounds like you're in a pretty tough spot. You don't really want to be here, but if you don't come along, your boss is going to fire you. Secondly, acknowledge the antisocial goal. So what I'm hearing is that if you could just come along here and chat about cricket every week, you'd have met your goal of keeping your wife from hassling you about your drinking. Finally, and this is key, look to pivot from the antisocial goal to a prosocial goal. If you just want to keep your parents happy, and we assume that I'm not going to sit here and play Fortnite with you for an hour each week, what would be needed to keep them happy and stop them from hassling you? You'd be amazed at how many clients will pretty much outline a complete set of goals and a treatment plan for themselves at this point. But the key is that they're outlining a treatment plan to meet their goals rather than someone else's. This might seem like a tiny semantic difference, but how often have you ever refused to do something that's good for you just because you felt pressured? Therapy is risky for people. They've got to preserve their dignity and their agency. Try this idea with a client this week and let me know how it goes in the comments section.